Welcome back to Quiet Was Never Safe. Today's episode is special because we have the woman who's lived through all of my trauma with me, even the parts I didn't tell her yet, and she's just now finding out on my podcast. My mom. Mom, say hi.
Hello. Thank you for having me. And also, yes, I survived your childhood and your 20s. So I deserve this microphone.
Touche. So let's start here. At what point did you realize, no, my daughter is in danger?
Well, it didn't take long. It was pretty immediate. I think probably even before you saw there was an issue, I could see signs of things starting.
Gotcha. And let's be honest here. You used to track my location like I was your DoorDash order, right?
Well, absolutely 110%. Once things started really getting hairy, I absolutely had to know where you are. I had to know you weren't there for too long or that you didn't wander off into a field somewhere and I'm sitting there going, "Where's my daughter?"
I mean, it's understandable. I remember if I was traveling for work or anything, if I stopped for too long, you'd be calling me like, "Hey, what's going on? Are you okay? You've been sitting in this field for 5 minutes now," but I was really just at the gas station.
Absolutely. I was probably a little obsessed with it, but I was so worried. So as long as I could see what your movements were, I knew you were okay. And if something looked funny or you were somewhere you shouldn't be or you were there too long, I was going to check. I wasn't going to take any risk of anything happening.
Understandable. And I know a big part of that is because you're so far away. It was so wild to be over 3 hours away from you guys, going through all of this stuff by myself. And I can only imagine the toll that it took on you personally.
It was really hard because there were times I just wanted to get in my car and drive there. Sometimes that's not possible, but it was so hard to be so far away. It was so hard not to have a personal eye on you. So I think our phones became a way to do that. And it made me feel better knowing I could at least see where you were at. But you were very good to keep in contact with me. I'm sure you probably thought, "Oh my God, she's calling me again."
No, I just really felt like that was our umbilical cord. Like we were connected again in a totally different way. But I really do appreciate you always checking in because, as you know, being a survivor yourself, when you're going through all of that, you forget things a lot. Your mind kind of goes blank for no reason because it's so overwhelmed.
It is a crazy, frightening feeling to know that your child is going through something you've already been through and to know how terrifying it was at the moment you were in it. And now you see someone else going through it and you're like, "What can I do? How can I help?" I mean, I was on the verge of any minute having to jump in the car and drive down there. I was so terrified for you.
Do you feel like part of your fear or maybe obsession of trying to control aspects that we felt so out of control in came from your past of domestic violence?
Absolutely. It really brings back those feelings of being scared, not knowing what was going to happen. I think the most terrifying are the things that happen unexpectedly. And once you've lived it and you know that the other person does not respect restraining orders, they do not respect boundaries. They have no thought of what the law is telling them. No matter how many times they've been told, they march right through it. And then here you are up there alone. I can't get to you. So, yeah, I will say I was really, really scared. I mean, there were nights I was up to 3 a.m. checking your location. Like, where is she? Okay, she's supposed to be driving here. I mean, it's a real thing.
Yeah, I can completely understand that. I couldn't imagine if my girls or even my son was going through that, the feelings that I would have. And as you know, one of the reasons I've worked so hard to get out and to go through therapy and work through my traumas is because I don't want my kids experiencing that. I don't want this generational trauma to continue any more generations than it already has.
And what's interesting is I did not grow up with that. That was not a part of my childhood. That was something that came after I was an adult. But you see, there are these women, these helpers, these fixers. There are those of us who have this deep empathy for people and we feel like we can fix them and we overlook the red flags and we march ahead. So it was almost like the whole stuff started with me, not generations back. I knew from my own experience, no matter what I told you, no matter what I said to you, until you got to a point where you had simply had enough, That was the only thing that was gonna bring change. So, in the meantime, all I could do was try to be there, try to keep an eye out, and give you advice.
I can totally get that. I mean, I've talked about it a lot on past episodes, but the one thing that you told me that really stuck is all those times when I would call you and tell you, man, I can't do this anymore. I don't know how to continue like this. How do I leave? And you always said, nothing I say is going to change that. One day you'll just wake up and you won't care anymore. And that's when you'll be ready to move forward. And it was so true. No matter how many times I knew how bad it was, or that it was worsening, or that I was in danger, or maybe the kids were in danger. It was almost like I was chained there until that light switch flipped off.
Oh, absolutely. You want to believe your partner has your best interest. You want to believe the I'm sorries and it won't happen again. Your mental outlook changes. The person that you were when you came into the relationship, it's not the person you are while you're going through it. And it is scary and it is frightening knowing that leaving is the most dangerous time. It's really scary. It's really hard. The best you can do if you're a mom sitting in this situation is just be there, you know, watch what you can watch. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the person that's going through it absolutely will not leave until they're ready. But then once they're ready, here we go. Well, I was waiting for that day.
Yeah, and I know it took me a little longer than I would have liked. After I got out of the first one, I really thought that moving into the second one, I had found true love because he didn't put his hands on me, and I thought that I was doing good, and I was building this family that I always wanted, and I had absolutely no idea that I was in such a worse situation. I mean, it was so much worse. And people don't understand that the psychological abuse and the emotional abuse can be so much worse because, if somebody hits you, it hurts for a little bit. But when they start messing with your mind, that hurts for a very long time and it's very hard to pull yourself out of. And so I wish it was as easy as people would say, just leave and you'll be okay. But unfortunately, it's a lifelong battle and I wish more people understood that.
It absolutely is a lifelong battle, and it's not just leave. I have kids. What am I going to do for money? Will I have a car? Where am I going to go? There's so many questions that factor into it and feed into that fear. And sometimes, even if there is help available, you don't see it because you're so wrapped up in the moment. And let me tell you, when they're messing with your mind, it is a whole different ball game. Such a hard thing to overcome and say, you know what? I didn't make you do this. And sometimes it even takes counseling to get to a point where you can see, yeah, I don't deserve this. It's a lot. It's hard, but it can be done. Even now, looking back, and it's been years since I went through it, and it was more than one relationship. Even now, I have a problem trusting someone. If I go on a date and I see one red flag, I'm out. No explanations. It's a challenge.
It is, but having those boundaries is so important, and I think that was really the turning point for me. When I really started learning boundaries and what they are and how to hold them, my life started shifting dramatically, and I think that's a huge part of why I was able to get into the relationship I'm in now, and what's really funny is he particularly never dated anyone with kids, and when I would meet his friends from college, I would say, "Hey, we gotta go, the daycare's closing." And they would look at me like I was insane. "Yeah, I gotta get my kids." And they're like, "Plural?" "Yeah, I got 3 kids." And they looked at me like I was the craziest person on the planet. His best friend came up to me and said, "What did you do to change this man?" And I was like, "I have no idea." So we asked him, "What made you change? What made you pick me if you were so against dating people with kids?" And he said, "You had boundaries. You wouldn't accept anything less, and I wanted to be with you." And at that moment, I think that's really when I realized, dang, I took that counseling and I did that. And I'm very proud of that to this day.
I think it's really good to have boundaries because I think you'll hear a lot of men say, I want a strong woman. Some of them do. Some of them want a woman who'll set boundaries, who knows what they want, where they're going, and has goals. But then there are those men who don't want a strong woman. They want someone they can control. And when you put those boundaries up, they hit the door. You know what? Good. It's important for your own mental health because as long as you have those boundaries, you're not letting someone in who's going to try to knock them down.
Exactly. Those kind of people, there's the door. Because at the end of the day, we only have one life. And sometimes that life can be very short. So you should live it to the fullest. And if somebody can't respect your boundaries or understand even why you have them, those aren't the kind of people that should be in your life. They're not worthy of your love. So let them go because the people waiting on the other side, they do value that. They will value you and you won't have to worry about being scared to set a boundary.
Absolutely. And if you are dating someone or you're in a relationship and you're thinking to yourself, I can't tell him this. I better not let him know that I bought this. I better not order a dessert with my dinner. He's going to get mad. You know what? That's a huge red flag. Get out because someone who loves you and respects you, they want you to be happy. They
Mhm.
want you to have things. They will do what they can to work with you, not against you, and not make you feel like you're doing something wrong when you clearly aren't. I mean,
Mhm.
that's huge for me. That is huge.
I agree. And I know you touched on this briefly, but what would you say to any parents listening that are in the space you were in, that are just sitting there terrified daily, watching their baby go through this?
I would say keep your keys ready just in case. You never know if you're going to have to jump in the car. Keep a constant contact with your child. Don't try to tell them what to do because it's not going to work, but be there to listen, have information readily available if they need it. The web is a great place to research things, to find resources, but just know in your heart, no matter what you see going on, you cannot make them leave. So just wait. I tell them the same thing I told you. When you're ready, I'll be here. There were times that I really wondered if I was going to lose you because of all the crazy stuff that was happening, being harassed, being followed, being spied on. It is terrifying when you figure out that's what is happening because you're like, how do I stop it?
Mhm.
So there again, that's where the research comes in. How can I find this? What do I need to do? And after a while, you will find out. The cops know your name.
It's really sad, the system that we're in, because even if there were police officers that came over and they wanted to help, it's almost like their hands were really tied and they were just trained to tell us it's civil. You've got to go to court. But how am I supposed to wait to go to court when I can't see my child because it's being held from me? I really wish that we could have some reform in the system to actually be able to help in those situations. We already went to court. We already have papers. Why can't you help me? And I think something really needs to change in that.
I absolutely think something needs to change. No one should have to live in fear. No one should have to worry when they go to bed at night whether or not they're safe. Restraining orders, they don't work for most people. They don't care about that piece of paper. That's all it is to them, a piece of paper. It's really something that needs to be worked on.
That's why I've gotten so deep into the advocacy role because somebody's got to say something. And one person standing alone doesn't make a huge impact. But if there's a group of us, we can really make changes. I love the community that's being built and all of the women that are coming together. I'm really excited to see where this takes all of us.
Me too. And one thing I strongly recommend is women standing together. There's so many things that women can come together and do to make that turning point bearable.
Definitely. So now that I've been out for a little while and now that I'm safe, how does that feel? And what does it feel like watching me step into this advocacy role and doing this podcast?
I'm very proud of you. I'm glad you decided to do this. I'm glad you're safe and I love your relationship that you have now. You've just done some really great things. I'm super, super proud of you. In my mind, I guess to me, there's always just a hint of what if, not from the current situation, but from things past. That is a shadow that's just always in the back of my mind. So I still want you to be careful. I still want you to know your surroundings. The difference is this time you have someone there with you who would absolutely stand up for you at a heartbeat. It makes me feel more secure to know that you're not up there alone. You've come so far with your life, and it's really nice to see that you're doing these podcasts and letting other women know, hey, we've been through it too. We know
Mhm.
what you're going through. You have a voice. We will listen. So I think it's really huge, and I think it says a lot for all the work you've done to get to this point.
Thank you. I know you know, but it's been a very rocky road getting here. And just like you said, all of the things in the past, when you have children with this person, you have to deal with them for the rest of your life, even past your child being 18. And so there always is that lingering fear. but building such a strong community around you and having those resources makes it bearable to where it's just kind of faint in the background. I can look back now and just be so proud of where I'm at now. And I'm really excited. I'm really thankful for the people following already. Like my mom said, we are here to listen. Even if it's just us, that's enough. You're not alone. Your voice matters.
You're not alone. And if there's one thing I would like to say to the people listening, and it took me a long time to learn this, and Ashley, I see you do it now. We have the power. When you're getting phone calls you don't like, guess what? Hang up the phone. You don't have to answer it. If someone's standing at your front door and saying things to you that you find offensive or scary, shut the door and lock it. It took me a long time to learn. All I got to do is shut this door. So do that. Listen to your intuition. Shut that door. And, I'm always here.
I know you are. You've truly been a rock for me through all of this. And when it felt like I lost everyone else or, I felt so excluded, you were always there and you still are. And it might even be a silly question like, is there a difference between salted and unsalted butter?
Right?
Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the listeners?
I would like to say follow your instincts, trust yourself, get a good support system in place, and find a rock. You probably already have one and you just don't know it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again, Mom. And to everyone listening, this episode wasn't just about what I survived. It's about a very strong woman who survived a very similar background and who also survived my story with me. To everyone listening and the families who love them, healing is not a solo experience. Like they say, it takes a village, not just to raise kids, sometimes to come out of a very bad situation. So as Mom was saying, just be there, love them, keep an open ear. And to everyone surviving or trying to get out, don't be afraid to ask for help because there are people there to support you who love you. Thank you, everyone, for listening. This is Quiet Was Never Safe, but here you are.